Unboxing, walkthrough and review of the Donner Triple Threat effects pedal. This came along with the Donner Hush X electric guitar I reviewed last week, so I don't know much about it. But if you want to find out more, or if by the end of the video you're interested in buying one, I've put the links down below to the international Donner site and the European Donner site. And they've also very kindly given me a discount code for any Donner products, which is GCH Guitar. Right, let's get on with it. Unboxing. I think with this, the packaging's been kept to a minimum, as it's wrapped in polythene. As usual, I'll speed up parts of the unpackaging so the video doesn't go on too long or become too boring. Inside the polythene is the retail box, which is sealed with a sellotape disc. So I'll open that and we can take a look at what's in there. Inside the box, the first thing you come across is the instruction manual, and under that is the pedal itself and a power supply. I'll just remove the last bit of packaging and then we can take a good look at what we've got. And there you have it. The instruction manual, the effects pedal and the power supply. And before I push the box to one side, it's worth me pointing out that it's clearly designed for you to be able to store your pedal away in when you're not using it, because it's really good quality and it's resealable using magnets. The user manual is really straightforward and it's only a couple of pages long, and some of that is taken up with the usual health and safety warnings, so there's only actually one true fold out page of instructions, and this kind of reflects how easy the unit will be to operate. It's all very straightforward. So if you want to learn about effects and how to use them, this would be the ideal unit to start with. The power supply is a standard guitar effects power supply, which means it's 9 volts with the pole on the outer sleeve, and it's 500 milliamps. Something that impressed me about this power supply was the fact that they've given you a really long lead. It's about 10 feet, so you don't have to be constantly on top of the power outlet. And my first impressions of the pedal itself are that I really love the yellow and black wasp style colouring. That seems to be a trademark of Third Man Hardware, and they use the same colouring throughout with the box and the instructions. The pedal is really solid and well made, but it's surprisingly small at only 7.5 inches long. And something I like about this, which might not be everyone's cup of tea, is the fact that it's so simple. If you look at the back of the pedal, it's just got an in, an out and the power supply socket, and that's it. So there's no unnecessary expansion sockets or USB sockets or anything like that. And looking at the top of the unit, you can see there's 3 switches and 3 parameters for each effect. So it's very much on the lines of the old classic style effects, except for its size, because they were a lot bigger in the olden days. With this unit, we'll do a walkthrough so you can see what effect each pedal and each parameter adjustment has on the sound. But before we do that, I'm just going to do a very simple explanation of how to connect up guitar pedals, because somebody asked me about this in a comment section where I think they felt they'd been ripped off because they had to get another lead in order to use an effects unit. So here we go. How to connect up guitar effect pedals. When talking about guitars, or in fact any musical instrument or audio device, you have to think about the signal path. And the signal path will always have a beginning and an end. In the case of a guitar and an amplifier, the guitar is the beginning and the amplifier is the end. So the signal path will be out of the guitar and into the amplifier. Or if you've got a separate amplifier speaker, then the signal path would be out of the guitar, into the amplifier, out of the amplifier, into the speaker. To simplify things, for the rest of this explanation, I'll assume you've got a combo, which is a combination amplifier speaker. So you just need to plug the guitar into the amplifier and the sound will come from there. So to use an effects pedal or an effects unit, you have to place the effects in the signal path. So you'd have out of the guitar into the effects unit and then out of the effects unit into the amplifier. So in simple terms, you're going to need 2 guitar leads or audio leads. To expand this slightly, if you have 2 effects units, the signal path will go out of the guitar into the first effects unit, then out of the first unit into the second effects unit, and out of the second effects unit into the amplifier. And if you wanted to connect up more than 2 effects, you would simply continue daisy chaining them. So out of the guitar, into the first effects, out of the first effects, into the second effects, out of the second effects, into the third effects, out of the third effects, etc. If you're using more than one effects pedal, it's well worth buying a patch lead or patch plug, and this reduces the amount of wire between the units. And not only is this tidier, but it reduces the amount of noise that gets into the signal from outside. So going back to this Donner triple threat, we need 1 lead from the guitar into the effects unit and 1 lead out of the effects unit into your amplifier. Or if you prefer, you could even put it into the sound card on your computer or however else you process the sound. To demonstrate the pedal, I'll be using a cheap Legato desktop amp. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One being it's easy to keep it in frame with the pedal so you can see what's going on. And 2, when its effects are off, there's no way of editing the sound. So it's got very transparent sound, which will give you a more honest idea of what the pedal does. Right, let's take a walkthrough of the Donner triple threat. This effects unit is made up of 3 effects: echo or delay, as they both mean the same thing, phaser, and distortion. And the echo has a level control, a feedback control, and a time control. The phaser has got a level control, a rate control, and a depth control. And the distortion's got a volume, a gain, and a tone. Right, let's take a listen to what each effect and each control does to the sound of the guitar. The echo or delay. I'm going to start with everything turned right down. To me, that's a really nice clean echo. The three adjustments do their job. The level goes from 0 to at least equal to the input. The feedback again goes down to virtually one strike right the way through into a feedback loop. And the time goes from nearly very close to a spring reverb right the way up to a good long delay. So with the amount of control you're given over the echo, you could more or less get any sound you're looking for. Just as a personal note, I always find it easier to test delays and reverbs using a click of the strings, but I've thrown in some notes just to give you a better idea of what it sounds like. Something I noticed with the controls is that the knobs are very small and very close together. However, the yellow rings around the controls are made of rubber, so they give you a really good grip and allow you to adjust the controls far more easily. Right, let's go on to the next effect, the phaser. As I did with the previous test, I'll turn all the controls right down and then turn them up slowly to see what effect they have. If you have everything turned down on this effect, it acts as a mute, so I have to bring the level back up. The first thing I notice is that if you match up the volume of the guitar without the effect to the volume of the guitar with the effect, then flicking between the two, there's a very subtle change in tone, which some people might find useful. However, this soon changes when you start turning up the rate and the depth. Another thing I noticed is the effect is far more pronounced when you're using the bridge pickup as opposed to the neck pickup, and this is because the effect introduces more treble, so it likes a more trebly sound on the guitar. As with the echo, the controls give you loads of variation on the effect, so it's quite easy to find the sound you're looking for. The rate takes the modulation down to a very slow rate and then right up as fast as you'd ever need. And the depth goes from a very shallow modulation, virtually unnoticeable, to a really deep phaser effect. The level control is useful as well, because the phaser effect has a natural attenuating property, so it tends to make the guitar slightly quieter. And the level control allows you to give the signal a bit of a boost, so you get a good strong output. I'm obviously doing these tests on an electric guitar, but the echo and the phaser can make an electroacoustic guitar sound really good as well. Right, I'll try the third and final effect, which is distortion. I don't know what you guys thought, but I was very impressed with this distortion sound. It's really got quite a range. And you'll notice I was using the volume a lot more than I was using the level in the other two effects. And that's because the distortion gets more intense the more gain you bring in. But when you bring in the gain, you get more volume. So if you want a really heavy metal distortion, you'd put the gain up to full blast, but lower the volume. However, if you want a very slight distortion, a slight crunch, then you'd want to turn the gain down and the volume up. You've also got the tone control, which allows you to fine-tune the distortion, so you've got a good balance between the treble and the bass. So, to summarise it, the distortion's very versatile, as indeed is the whole effects unit. In this video, I've just looked at each effect individually. However, you can use any combination of two or all three of the effects, and this makes the possibilities endless. So, in conclusion, I'd really recommend this pedal because the price is right, but you wouldn't know because it's really well made and it sounds good. And for anyone who's just starting out, it's easy to use. And it's very flexible, so you could use it in any genre. The build quality is really good and it's really heavy, with 4 rubber feet to prevent it from moving around whilst you're using it. And even though the unit's small, there's a good distance between the pedals, so you can get your feet in there to turn each effect on and off without banging the other switches. And the foot switches are very solid with a good solid click to them, with a bright LED above each one to tell you when the effect's on. The control knobs are very smooth and effective, and there's nothing on this unit that feels cheap in any way. And to me, the small size is a real advantage, because this will fit quite easily into the side pocket on most guitar cases. When I make a review like this, I always like to bring in something that's questionable or negative just to give balance to the review. However, I'm really struggling with this pedal. But I will mention that the controls are very close to each other, so it's quite easy to knock one control while you're adjusting another one. But this isn't a big thing. And on a very personal level, I wouldn't have an echo effect, I'd have a reverb effect. Because personally, I hardly ever use echo, but I use reverb all the time. Anyhow, that's it for this review. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit the like button. And if you want to support the channel, and if you're not already subscribed, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon. And this just helps the channel grow. And if you're looking for some free guitar lessons or full free guitar courses, you can find them at www.ebooks4guitar.com, and you can also find them on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much again for watching.